world is becoming more unglued by the day. Local consequences are now showing up. We are seeing sky-high gas prices, higher food prices, shortages, and more. How should you respond? Go to redpills.tv/patriot. That's redpills.tv/patriot. And secure your long-term emergency food storage from My Patriot Supply. My Patriot Supply is by far the largest preparedness company in America. They're in stock and shipping quickly in unmarked boxes to your door. Their emergency food supplies last up to 25 years in storage. When you need it, it'll be there. Lunches, dinners, drinks, and snacks totaling over 2,000 calories a day. Get free shipping on any order over $99. Again, go to redpills.tv/patriot.
From the spaceship in the sky to the simulation in the mind. Let's all embark on another journey of Conversations on the Fringe.
We're muting ourselves.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. My name is Josh, and this is the Red Pill Project's Conversations on the Fringe. And we have the two over there, Mick and V. Lynn from the Patriot Party Podcast, joining me tonight. And we're gonna have some fun. We're actually gonna go out there and we're gonna bring this other guy in. Who's this guy? We're going to bring this guy in. Oh, there he is. Jim Price. He's in here with us now. Jim Price, always making an entrance, isn't he?
Ta-da!
Ta-da! Jim. Oh, no sound. What do you guys mean, no sound?
No sound?
I don't know.
No sound.
I see.
You got me, no sound? I can hear
that. Audio? Let me see. Audio? Let's just check that out. Audio.
Audio.
Everybody. Audio. All right, we're good. Someone just had their volume down. All right, no Vince tonight. Vince has the night off, and I think he's just watching, which is cool. Sometimes it's good to just watch, isn't it? But we got Jim Price from the Jim Price Show. We got Mick and V. Lynn from the Patriot Party podcast, and we're not talking politics tonight. We're not talking the global conspiracy. We're not talking Fauci ouchies and jabby jabs. We're talking fringe shit. We're going out there. We're opening our minds. We're expanding a little bit. And, I have this video that I just found. And it really affected me when I listened to it. It was really, really interesting. Actually, I wonder if I can play it on that. I'm just kind of... We'll play it in a little while. But, I kind of want to open this up to our guest host here. And see what the tempo is. Because, it's been a while since Mick and V. Lynn and myself had done a show all together. I've done a few with Mick. Jim, I see this asshole every day, so...
Hey. I spread my cheeks only for you, buddy.
That's right, that's right.
Yeah. He calls me his brown-eyed girl.
Brown-eyed girl, do.
Isn't that exactly what that song meant, though? Yeah. Isn't the brown-eyed girl? And I mean, to me, I don't know. I was a construction worker. Every time I heard that song, that's the only thing I could think of. And I'm sure I'm way off. It's very biblical or something, right?
I don't know.
No? Is it the brown-eyed girl? I mean, what? Come on, guys.
Hold on. I can't hear Mick and V. Lynn. 1 second.
Oh,
just remember, just remember that there's no wrong hole in the Navy. So just as long as you remember that, you're safe.
We got a group full of veterans here tonight. I mean, Jim Price is a veteran. Mick served a lot of bag of dicks in his mouth, and
currently storing two in my cheek.
Taking all of it all over his face. Just saying.
That's right. You know what they say about the submariners is 100 men go down, 50 couples come back up. Any port in a storm, right? Plug those holes.
Every harbor is a safe harbor.
Hey, I'm not even coming up with it, folks.
So,
listen.
First, right?
I knew what I was getting into when I went into the United States Navy. All right, and I'm a big dude. I can defend myself.
Oh wait, that's not how that song goes. I'm into Navy.
Oh, in the Navy. That band did such a bad motto for the U.S. Navy. Those assholes.
Yeah. No, it's
actually, I thought they actually did a very good job. I was very surprised.
Right. Jim, you were Air Force, right?
Yeah, Air Force. Yeah, F-16 crew chief.
Ooh, Chair Force.
Yep.
I shouldn't say anything. My uncle is a colonel and my cousin's a sergeant now. So some shit like that, master sergeant, some shit like that. Whatever.
She finally got to my level.
Mm-hmm.
She was
a lot longer though.
It took her like.
Well, when you've struck enough poles, you finally get to the rank you need. I mean,
exactly.
How does that work?
Hey,
Josh.
Nepotism gets you a very long way in any service. So.
All right. So, Mick and V. Lynn, what is on your mind the eve of New Year's Eve? I mean, this isn't New Year's Eve yet, right? But this is the eve of New Year's Eve. What's on your guys' mind going into 2023 besides the political drama?
Yeah, you see the picture behind us?
Is that Gabriel?
That would be.
Mm.
Yeah.
That would be Gabriel.
Did Mick paint that with his tongue?
No.
That was a picture found by.
Yeah, I found that. But
this is definitely entering an era of interesting. We had a gentleman the other night. Veland found a video.
You guys split this guy, or you guys share it separately, or how'd that work?
No.
What's that?
We had a video.
You said we had a guy, so
it was a website in which we both read the website.
Mm-hmm.
I read it once by myself.
Better.
She read it once to me to hear it, just to make sure I was not hallucinating what we just heard.
Mm-hmm.
He claims to be one of the first prophets.
He claims to be the first witness. He claims to be Adam, Yashadel, actually.
And that was very interesting when we heard that, especially the name Yashadel, because I've only heard that uttered one other place, and it hadn't been anywhere around here. And I can tell you right now, that's a very interesting name to be heard.
Okay.
So I thought that was interesting because, we've been doing these deep dives on our Sunday show the last few weeks. First we did the prophecies of Revelations, kind of what's already occurred, what we can show. And then last week we did, or not last week, because last week was Christmas, but the week before we did the Revelation timeline and presented it in a way that I think most people have never heard before. Because when you actually go through the timeline, it talks about, earthquake over and over again. It's not six different earthquakes. It's all one. It's the same timeline told from a couple different perspectives. Yeah.
Okay.
So, and like the amount of time that the witnesses preach for is the exact amount of time that the woman that's fighting the dragon flees to the desert for, so there's a lot of overlap there. So
Revelations. Revelations is what you guys been doing.
Yeah, that's what's been on our mind lately.
So do you think that we are in end times?
I wouldn't call them end. What most people would probably call end times. I don't see it as the end of everything, though. I think it's the beginning of something new. But it's not going to be easy to get through to get to that new beginning. But no, I think personally, and I presented this in that last Truspiracy show, that I think the 1,000-year millennial reign has already happened, and the final battle is coming up, and then there's no. The 1,000-year millennial reign of Christ is a finite amount of time. I think that's the hidden history that we've all been trying to discover. Mm-hmm. I think what's coming up now, that final battle, is probably in the next, we have about 8.5 years. And then there is
you can do the it's a final.
I was just about to do that. You stole that from me.
I was right behind both of you. I was like, we're right in there. Kansas is echoing right now in the back of my skull.
Yeah.
It's the final countdown.
And we're all singing it. Yeah, every single one of us is singing it.
Well, I as much as I understand, is I think that everybody from all different ideologies, religions, spiritualities are all understanding that we're at this point, that we're at this tide, the shift of the tides, this transition of an age. But everybody feels that there is this ending in sight, that there is destruction coming, and of the old world, of the old paradigm, and the birth of something new. And we have this group of beings on this planet, men, women, beings, whatever you want to call them, that are trying to control that new paradigm, the creation of the new paradigm, and usher in the destruction of the old one. And I think that's something we can all agree upon. The question really is that, what do we think is going to unfold non-politically in 2023? How about this? In various types of paranormal or just fringy type of events, what do we think is going to happen in 2023?
I'm going to let Jim handle this one.
Well, I'll let Jim, you throw in, and then I've got a story to tell you.
Well, okay, so for me, guys, we talk about what we're really going to see. The idea that we're aware, the sad part of it is we're going to see things that most of the population will never be aware of. And I'm not trying to be metaphorical or sound too cryptic here, but in reality, we're going to see things that we cannot unexplain or unsee in ways that we've never thought of before. We're seeing that already in our own everything we've already seen through the pandemic. How is it going to be any different when they start ramping up this next part where AI and CGI and other things are literally manipulating people in real time. I think I sent it to Josh. I sent a video of a guy back in 1986 that says that they have frequency modulators that can actually cause you to eat more in a restaurant because of the frequency that they pump into the radio. And they were already distributing that back then, and they were telling the CIA they had those issues. So my problem is we're at 2002. And I'm going to tell you, we are those of us that understand things are going to see things, and it's going to hurt your brain. We're already having that right now. There's too many people through this equinox that we've had over this last few weeks here that have seen things changing, shifting. And it's, for those of us aware, it will be a terrifying time. But at the same time, those others will be, this guy. Go ahead.
All right, let's go ahead and play this.
To physically alter someone's mind from a distance. Let's watch this clip from Dr. Beck, and you'll be shocked.
And what I'm going to do here is something magical. I'm going to pick up here a scripto pencil. And you'll notice when I wave it around this electrometer, this electrostatic voltmeter, not much is happening. I'm going to do something magical to this pencil. I'm going to put a few extra electrons on it, like you did in high school. Now what happens?
You hear the flashbulb.
When I have charged this piece of plastic by rubbing it through my hair, as you do with a hair comb during the day, we have made a field which you can measure if you have an instrument. Now I'm going to do something else to you. I want the people from the first row back, I guess some of you even a little beyond the video camera are going to feel this. This works double blind, this is not suggestion. We're going to create a 3 to 5 hertz field, as Hamer did at UCLA in 1965, and we're going to ask you how you feel. Now, we're going to produce a 9 hertz wave. A wave is a time-varying field, and I want those of you who are sensitive to tell me what you feel compared to the 3 to 5. Okay? You got it? I see several faces have lit up here. You felt that? Terrific.
Yeah, the one wave made you feel slightly low. I felt the vibration in the solar plexus.
Yeah.
The second one you did, I felt the energy charge throughout the whole body.
Exactly. If you saw those previous slides, we have replicated here with very simple, do-it-yourself, verifiable on scientific instruments, waves and fields that have profound effect on biological systems. So we can go in and find out what restaurants are modifying your eating habits by giving you an adrenaline reaction, which normally produces fight or flight syndrome. If you paid $20 for a meal, you're not going to fight or run away, you're going to eat faster. If you eat faster, they're going to have more table turnover during a shift. This is being done. We found a number of these locations in Southern California that are doing this to us. Incidentally, they are connected with the family. They are Italian-owned. This technology has leaked down to the public. We hoped it would be a few years before this happened.
In the 1980s.
When we began trying to actively manipulate the mood and brain waves of Homo sapiens, we first tried photic stimulus, flashing lights. We tried evoke potential from sound. We tried a number of things about which we do not talk in public. We finally developed a little device about this size that goes in your shirt pocket. I took it down, now I'm telling on myself, but I hope the statute of limitations has run out, to a couple of the major tourist attractions in Southern California, where we would have an unlimited number of subjects, free, doesn't have to feed laboratory mice. We determined that we could alter the brain patterns of about 35% of the gross population up to a distance of around 20 to 30 feet. Instead of going through the door, they would run into the door jamb. Instead of walking around the trash can, they would kick it over. They'd get lost. As soon as I found that this actually worked, and I use these to determine the waveforms, pulse repetition rates, etc. I destroyed the units because I felt we were doing a highly unethical thing. So I hied myself back to Washington and I said, hey, you guys, we've got a clear and present danger.
Your mind is being altered every day from outside sources. And the only question left for you is whether or not you want to take control of it or let it be in the hands of somebody else.
Well, that's pretty darn profound, isn't it?
Well, two things I wanted to point out. One, you heard the flash bulb go off when the camera was clicking. And the other was they were using a slideshow. So I just wanted to make sure that we're all seeing that this was a Wayback Machine for this. Anyway, sorry. But no, that's
not only that, but let's really talk about what they're talking about. He said he destroyed all the units. That's all bull. That's all bull crap.
Yeah.
Okay. Because the units exist. They exist right here. We have them in our hands. You have them right near you. I guarantee every single person has one of these in your pocket.
Yes,
That's the same thing that he's talking about. We have these little units that tell us all about you. We don't have to
train your brain patterns.
Yeah.
Literally.
Trip Elix was CIA, and he was a tech guy for them, and he will tell you that they actually have what they call an egg of you, and they can turn it into a negative egg of you or a positive egg of you or an indifferent to the people that see your stuff. So people that will see your stuff, they can literally hate your stuff because they change that image of you online, and people will perceive you as being different than you are.
Based off of a 30-second clip. It doesn't have to be anything more than 30 seconds because why? The government's already dumbed you down to that amount of time.
TikTok, right? The Reels.
Well, listen to the name of the app. TikTok.
I mean, does it need to be any more clear? What do you want it to say? Hey, we're going to mind fuck your soul. Watch this. Hold on 1 second. Here you go. There's your app.
MFS. Do you want to use the MFS app? Is that what it is? Mind fuck your soul.
Now, for people who don't know, that was Dr. Robert Beck. Dr. Robert Beck is a PhD electrical engineer. He worked for the Department of Defense as well as various intelligence agencies within various PSI projects throughout the 1960s and the 70s. A lot of what we call today as psychotronics were developed by Robert Beck or Dr. Bob Beck to counteract a lot of the research that the Russians and the Soviets were doing during the Cold War.
Dr. Beck did a lot of, let's put it this way. Dr. Beck is the gentleman that we talk about when we talk about men who stare at goats. He was the father of that program.
Oh, man, really?
That is the father of the men who stare at goats. I've actually been to the pens. They actually exist. And all of that shit is real.
I'll tell you guys, I did 18 years private contractor for the Department of Defense. 18 years, solid. And I'm going to tell you that the stuff that we were doing for the physical security of things, so I would design and build and train the military.
Whoa. Hold on. Electricity go out over here?
I don't know, but my TV just turned off.
Yeah, mine did too. Did it turn that down? Yeah. Hold on a second. Half my house power just let out, so give me a second. I'm going to try to get it back up. We're on battery backup.
Oh no, I have a trying to keep
water running your pipes and take care of your pets and your elderly. It's going to be 40 degrees tonight. I'm like,
me and her used to go down to Kroger
I'm in a sweatshirt.
when they would say it's going to get down to 40.
Right.
We go down to Kroger to watch everybody go in and out of Kroger buying milk and bread.
Hey, I put your guys' audio back on. So I have a power outage at my house. I'm on battery backup, but it's weird. It's just my room and the breaker's not tripped.
Okay, so what that is you have a voltage drop coming off the main line. So that's when you have that's called a brownout. Mm-hmm. So when part of your house is good and part of it isn't, you have that.
You're having a brownout.
Brownout.
So what do I do for that?
You get it's nothing. You got to wait for the service to come back up.
You bend over, kiss your own ass, and say goodbye.
Okay, give me a second.
All
right. So are we going to have live video?
Turn off power to other parts of the house, and maybe it'll turn back on in the studio.
Hold on, I'm watching.
You could turn off certain breakers in the house to limit the power, the little bit of power that's going to them, so it isn't a drain. So you click off different things, and like the refrigerator right now, you don't need that because it's so.
Can you guys hear us? First of all,
they can.
I'm monitoring Pilled. Can you guys hear us? Just making sure.
I'm being told yes.
Okay. He's being told 5x5, so we're good. All right. So anyway, without Josh,
let me go back to the story of 18 years of doing DoD contracting.
Yes, back to that.
All right. So, guys, I did 18 years of private contracting for the DoD. So I did high security design, build, and train the military how to physically secure themselves from blast proofing, bulletproofing, shelter in place, nuclear explosions, blah, blah, blah. Right. Just standard stuff. I did that for 18 years. I was that guy. People that had these jobs, they sought me out. I would do this work for them, cradle to grave. And so I'm going to tell you right now, the Capitol building, if they want to turn you into red mist before you got to touch the alabaster white stone on there, they could. I'm just telling you right now, the security systems in the Capitol building are no bullshit. And the idea that they say, oh, these guys got in with plastic flag poles and all this, and it is jet fighter canopy glass that's on those windows. It is reinforced with steel I-beams. The frames themselves are completely redone. They go in. There's all these protocols. And I know it's a historical building, so don't get that bullshit all wrapped up. It's historical. You can't touch it. Yes, you can. I can make your house look exactly like it is right now, but nobody's touching you. And I know how to do that. I did it for a long, long time, obviously. Very, very good at what I was doing. But guys, when we talk about how we are being manipulated and we're being trained or this or that through all this tech that we've seen, just through the video that Josh just played, when we think about that, I was doing ground penetrating radar 20 years ago. And that means that we are doing that in America because we believe that the other countries are tunneling underneath our country and going in to implode the buildings that we have because that's what we do to them. So when you see these buildings blow up in the Middle East, they go like this. It's because they tunneled underneath them. They put the ordnance in there. They took the building up and they sucked it back into the same hole. We do precautions for our buildings because we think people are doing that to us. And so when we think about the tech and the things that we have out there, there are things that I was doing that, we're just barely talking about now as some of the things that are getting out there. That was doing that 20 years ago. But Obama had us on this whole kick of he was pulling down the tech and he was making sure that everything was on solar panels, trying to make every building off the grid. So we would take a 20 by 30 building and spend $100,000 just on solar panels. And that's not including maintenance or anything and it would take up a third of the building and battery storage to be able to then service the building to keep it off the grid. Anyway, just bullshit stuff. But I was going to tell you all that because there's stuff that we're doing at that level and within the military and different things like that we're being fucked off the whole way when it comes to this tech and everything else we're doing.
And I can tell you, and I can add to that because I worked on the other side of that. I was on the side that we spent all the money. Why? Because I was in SOCOM for 15 of my last 21 years in the military. I spent in SOCOM. Either I was with CAG or I was with SF. And I started out with SF, ended up in CAG. And I can tell you 100%.
Tell people what those acronyms are because I know what they are. You know what they are.
So SOCOM,
SOCOM is the Special Operations Command within the United States military. CAG is the Combined Applications or Operations Group, depending on which way you go with it.
The Army's version of
It's Delta.
Yeah.
It is First Special Forces Operational Group Delta. I spent 13 years with them. Trust me, I know all of everything they do and plus some. And no, I'm not going to tell you about it. I'll tell you about what I can tell you about. And no, I'm not going to be an Eric Haney. So if you know anything of what I'm talking about, you know exactly who I'm referring to, and you know why I'm not going to do that. But with that, no, it's CAG, Lindsay. It's not KAG. With that, though, there are within those elements, we did a bunch of shit where we wasted a whole ton of money. And I can tell you the shit we wasted money on there.
Obama, we were shutting down bathrooms because they didn't have the money to fix the faucets or the valves on the bathroom. So they would just shut the bathroom down. This is what we were doing on mainland America during Obama.
Bullets during Obama for training. So they couldn't go to the range because they didn't have any live ammunition for training during Obama.
Yeah.
They
we
ran out of
were
fucking
doing
bullets.
the training, the keep the pilots at CERT. They were having to rotate pilots around on odd planes just to keep their certifications up for piloting for hours up aloft. So the problem is that this is a real. Obama was really fucking us off. I mean, and not in a special way, like what he does when he loves you and touches you in the right way.
Not like he does to Big Mike.
Yeah, no, he was schooling us. He was.
Mike.
Yeah. So it was tough. I mean, those contracts during those years were, I hated it because, oh, by the way, guys, if you think that there's no special set asides for any type of minority or any of that, I worked exclusively for tribes and Indians. And I know that sounds rhetorical or like redundant, but no, like dot Indians and feather Indians.
Yes.
I had to identify what contractor I was working for by feather or dot. And during those times, the problem is there was companies that were getting contracts only because they had the HUD, 8A zone, all these different special set asides because they were minority and all this other. And I, as a white guy, I couldn't compete with them. I just had to work for them because they would get the contract and then they would keep 10% and then sub it out to a whole nother general contractor.
Because they didn't actually know what they were doing. They just wanted the money.
You know, the tribe that I worked for 12 years or whatever it was, or 11 years, they didn't have an office. They just got a check deposited in a checking account. There was no company. They just got the contract and someone else did it for them.
From the federal government, mind you. This didn't come from like a foreign government. No, this came from the United States government.
I couldn't compete with them. I kept their A rating. I kept all that stuff. I was the one that did all the work. I was did all the meetings. I don't even know who these people were. The name of the company is, I never met them. And I got a paycheck from them though, because that's where the money flowed through, because they were a tribal and I couldn't compete with them because they get discounts off of their bids. So if I bid $100,000 and they bid at $120,000, they would get the contract because of their special set asides.
Hey, so like you all think this is a joke. If you do, so Arc'teryx, it is a climbing gear store. If you've ever seen it,
yeah,
it's out there, owned by American Indians. Nothing wrong with it. I love their stuff. Right. Their stuff is way overpriced, but guess what? They sell their stuff to the federal government at cost. At cost to them.
Uh-huh.
And their stuff is worth money. You know it because if you go on their website, you go look at anything that's insulated on the Arc'teryx website, you're going to spend over $700 for a coat.
Yeah.
They sold that shit to the federal government for $385. Why? How do I know that? I've got 4 of them.
Yeah,
I'll go pull them out. I can never wear them down here in
southern Georgia.
I'll send them to you wherever you're at if you want them. I'm dead serious.
Right.
They're awesome. They're outstanding. They're outstanding. They are the what is it? The fake down, and they'll keep you warmer than shit. They're the best stuff out there. But I can tell you right now, you can't find them anywhere for under $700. But I got like 4 of them. For less than $200.
Well, but here's the thing though. Now on contracts, one thing is here's the item for $300 and some odd, right? But you don't know what the administrative costs were on the backside. So what happens is they will say they will give you this special price on these coats, but we have like an 80% administrative fee. And then on the administrative fee, we have another. And so there's contracting in the federal government is the biggest how do you want me to lie to you operation I have ever seen in my entire life. All it really said was, how do you want me to lie to you? How do you, okay, oh yes, I'm the QC today. I'm also the superintendent. I'm the project manager and I'm the vice president of the company. Hi. I mean, and like,
I'm not laughing because what he's saying is funny. It's reality.
That's true everywhere. Okay. I ran a hotel for years. Okay. And I was the operations manager, the assistant general manager. So I actually ran the hotel. My boss, the general manager, was pretty much signing invoices that I had already approved and handed to him, after I ordered it and whatnot. And on meetings with corporate, they talked as much as politicians do and did about as much work. So, and people would call up and they would bitch, because that's what happens in service. People call up and bitch all the time. Right. And I would very often pick up the phone because I hated to hear a phone ring, and I only had so many operators. And if I'm walking through the office and the phone's ringing, I'd pick it up. Well, the person bitching on the other end could not comprehend that the highest ranking person in the hotel had actually picked up the phone. So they would insist on speaking to a manager. So I would hand them off to some 19-year-old kid who I'd trained and be like, hey, you're the manager today. Here you go. And they'd say exactly the same thing that I just said. Right. But because it was the second person they talked to, they thought they were talking to the manager. It went over completely differently.
The guy with the briefcase from out of town is always the expert. It's the person who didn't talk first. So you walk in, you're like, hi, I'm Bill. Everything looks great. Oh, thank you, Bill, for that. We knew it was looking great. Thank you.
But
you, Bill.
But that is literally government contracting 101. I mean, you can't make this stuff up, folks. Literally, the lowest bidder is the one who serves the contract.
Okay.
No, it's not, because I got contracts. I knew what see, they would tell me, oh, you were beat by 4 other contractors, but because of your performance, because I always kept A rating performances, and because of your qualifications, your company gets these 12 contracts. And I'm looked at him like, well, how bad were we? Like, well, you weren't even in the ballpark on as some of these other bidders. I'm like, okay. And you still gave it to us? Yeah, well, your performance is good enough. But remember, it's always the lowest bidder, right? But it's not.
Time out. No. I'm sorry, because I have to beg to differ on that one, because I actually saw it for the first time in my whole life. I actually saw it. The company I work for now.
Right.
I install garage doors. That's what I do for a living. So if you all want to know if I'm blue collar or not, yes, I'm fucking blue collar. I install garage doors every day. I'm not doing this. By the way,
I put in more garage doors and I hate it every single time. I would rather slam my finger in a door.
You know what? I want to know why? Because I'm not stuck behind a computer shuffling fucking.
Oh, no, I get that part of it. I'm just saying how all the little shit that goes wrong with garage doors. People don't realize how much of a miracle those things going up and down daily. You need to fix your garage door guy. Really?
I got my head. Trust me, I can tell you. But with that, right. I tell you this because we went to, I lived close to a military installation. We went down there. We bid out a contract. We were the lowest bidder going in there. Mm-hmm. I told my boss, I said, hey, stay to the lowest ballpark that you think you can afford. He did exactly that. He won that contract. And then we got contracted to do 3 other doors.
However, the difference is he also put you guys up as a veteran-owned business because you and your other partner
general manager
are both, because he has a sweat stake in the company. The owner, the general manager, and Mick started the company together, and so because 2/3 of them are veterans, it's considered a veteran-owned company. That makes all the difference. Yeah. If you had, it's absolutely veteran set aside. If you had gone in there and he hadn't said it was a veteran company, there's no guarantee you would have gotten that even at the lowest.
A lot of times you can't even bid for it if you're not a veteran set aside. The one company I worked for out of Tulsa, he was a Vietnam veteran, wounded Indian, and his wife was also an Indian wounded military. So, I mean, it was like, holy crap, guys, what contracts don't you get? Like, there's printing money, like, you know what I mean? Yeah.
All right. So I'm gonna take us back on off these rails here, because in Josh's absence, he said he didn't want us to go into politics, and he wanted us to go fringy. And I think I know where he was going. because I do kind of think like him sometimes, scary as that is. I think I know where he was going with.
Josh thinks like a girl.
No, I think like Josh.
Yes.
Josh and I are actually, all right. So, you know, I think the first, or maybe the first time that Josh and I met, it was like the second day, because we were all in Tulsa. We met in Tulsa. The second day, and he and I started talking bloodlines and ancestors, and we found out that we're actually related like 8 generations back. So we share a great.
This is like a half
grandfather. So
to Josh.
So yeah, and you're frozen there, Jim. I don't know.
I'm not.
Oh, you're just being super still.
He's being super still.
Your story was so riveting. I couldn't even breathe.
Whatever. So
have we met in person? We've met in person, haven't we?
Yes, we met in person. Yeah,
I think we have.
I wouldn't say you weren't there. No, we met in Dallas. You weren't there.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But I don't know that you know our story, Jim, and this is where I think Josh was going.
What the hell did I have doubt on? Oh! All right, I want to make sure that we have everybody back. Hold on, I got to change your guys' audio real quick. Back to this guy. So I was not able to resolve the problem.
Okay.
So it looks like the GFCI breaker in my bathroom has a red fault on it, and that must loop the circuit to this bedroom.
Right.
So all I did is I went and got my extension cord and plugged my backup battery system into that and ran that upstairs. Fuck it. We're good. Let's do a show.
All right. So here's what I was thinking, Josh, with you playing that initial video. Because I've had this thought, I've pondered this quite a bit in the past year, actually, as I've come across similar videos to that. What if this entire time the military has just been fucking with Mick? If they've just been putting these thoughts, these images, these ideas into his head that he's, speaking to an archangel? What if it's just been a MK Ultra on steroids?
What if it is? What if that's what this all is? What if not only is it Mick, what if it is everybody? That there is an artificial intelligence that is actually operating the world, and it has basically attuned itself to every single person on this planet and is sending various different electrical signals to those people to manipulate them in certain ways and directions, of which basically allows for the unfoldment of its reality that it wishes to see.
See, I told you.
Matrix. We're all plugged into the Matrix. That's all that is. You just said we're plugged into the Matrix. Like literally, they are controlled.
That's exactly what I was saying.
That is the definition of the Matrix.
In pondering this in the course of the past year, because this has come up a lot in my head in the past year, and I've actually even spoken with Gabriel about it. Not interesting. He never remembers these conversations, by the way. He's not there when it happens, so why would he remember it?
Just the little daggers are nice. It's nice to see those little poison darts you throw out there.
No, I mean, his body's here. He's
I
not
get stabbed
here.
all the time.
Don't miss an opportunity.
He's well. I mean, I've recorded it and played it back for him, and he's like, he has no recollection, no memory whatsoever.
Easier.
But I've asked about it, and I've thought about it a lot. And the only thing that doesn't make sense to me is if the government was doing this to you, why would they be reconnecting us to God?
So firstly is we have to define government, right? Because the literal government is not what does this.
Yeah.
And then secondly, I think that Mick and I and Jim, I believe, we understand kind of how these institutions within government, these administrations actually run. When you get into like the operational aspect of government, and you want to talk about intelligence agencies, it's a fucking debacle. We want to think that they're organized, around point, and they have like this long schedule of events that goes out, and they're like, we're going to do this, and we're going to do this. And that's just not how things are. It's like chaos every day within these facilities. And you can see this within the lower echelons of government, just how like people shoot from the hip every day. They just piss away money. They have no idea what authority is. And that goes up those echelons because basically, in order to get promoted in the government, you have to be an ass kisser and a dick sucker. Doesn't mean that you have to be competent. Doesn't mean you have to have managerial skills. So the people that are actually getting into those high level positions, they're fucking morons for the most part. And so to think that they actually have some level of skill or some type of organization is kind of absurd at that degree. So these higher level organizations that are probably running this show, I would say, are not the intelligence organizations, the administrations in government, but instead most likely secret societies operating within clandestine black projects, third-party contractors to the DoD, DARPA, these types of things, experimental laboratories within universities, academia.
Thing you've already said, it's bloodlines. The bloodlines of families. I mean, we don't even have to worry about secret societies if we know it's bloodlines.
Well, that's what I'm saying is, but they do this research primarily through institutions. They'll do it through education institutions, academia, Stanford, Yale, these types of things. They'll do it through privately funded organizations, Pfizer, Moderna. They'll do it through Samsung. They'll do it through Google. What do you think In-Q-Tel was all about? And so, here's the thing is you don't need the government to basically do this stuff. Is if these people go out there and they fund In-Q-Tel, and In-Q-Tel goes out there and funds the development of one of these things. And then one of these things is basically what they do is they just do an adaptive profile. And this is something that actually operates in marketing is what you do is you observe a person's habits and behaviors for about 6 months. And this is how often they're touching their phone, where they're holding their phone. And so this is exactly how they do it, by the way. This is how the Google algorithm works. Back in 2015 to 2018, I was actually an expert on the Google algorithm. I searched this thing out. I developed marketing tactics and strategies directly for the Google algorithm. But when you learn how this thing works, basically, you have an accelerometer in your phone and also a geolocation tracker. So it tracks exactly the position of that phone where it is on your body. Is it in your back pocket? Is it in your front pocket? Is it in the left or the right side? Is it in your front pocket? How often do you touch that phone? How often do you unlock it? What are your codes like? How many codes do you unlock within it? How complex are those codes? What are the first apps you go to? How often are you going to those apps? When are you going to touch the top of the screen, the bottom of the screen?
Just go to your screen. What is it? Screen time.
Yeah.
Remember, you get a little notification. It tells you exactly what you've been doing all day or all week.
But they monitor your behaviors and habits for about 6 months, and they develop a digital profile based upon you. What Mick was talking about is the egg. And they take this profile, and from that point, they can exploit it. And they sell that data to other companies, corporations, and governments, and then they can manipulate you directly from that point. I guarantee you right now that if they wanted you to buy something, they could put it in front of you for about 2 to 3 days, and you would fucking buy it. Because that's how good their algorithms actually are.
The Jim Price Show coffee mug, brought to you by Josh
Budweiser.
So
put a
here's
can
the
in your
question.
ass. What? Go ahead.
Here's the question, right? I ask this question a lot. And when I say the government, it's really just those who govern us. I don't think the government is actually what people think the government is. Government is those who govern us, not the people who pretend to be in charge of the country because they're fucking morons, incompetent.
Hey, these are great people now.
I'm sure they have
grandchildren.
personalities. Yes, they have wonderful personalities. I want to set them up with.
Could be Gavin Newsom. I mean, shit.
But okay, so the question is really, well, first off, if you believe in God, truly believe, as I do, then you have to ask, are they trying to bring about the end in order to change what we've already been told the end result is? Or is this happening as was originally planned? Or was this the original plan in the first place? And then the other question I ask of you, Josh, when you had that experience, that supernatural experience, as it were, extra natural experience, as it were. Really deep down in your soul, do you think that was someone fucking with you? Or do you think that really truly happened because you are here in this time for a purpose?
You just segued into the next video I was about to fucking play.
Oh, look at that. You guys are cool.
Dude, like seriously, like that was significant. Okay,
You
so
said that Josh thinks
synchronicities
that girl
do
earlier.
exist. Okay, synchronicities do exist. I'm gonna go ahead. I gotta do this real quick. I gotta pick this bad boy. Gonna go like that. Gonna come up here, move this guy out of the way. There we go. We're gonna go ahead and play this video. This is 5 minutes long, but please listen to this. This is really important. I want everybody to listen to this.
The oldest living thing on Earth is the bristlecone pine. There are living trees right now that are almost 5,000 years old. Now, the forestry department will not say which of the bristlecones is the oldest, because they don't want some douche canoe going up there and digging it up to sell on eBay. I used to spend a lot of time in those mountains as a kid, and when I was 14, I remember I had a surplus of that angry energy a lot of teenage boys have. My family had been fighting, so I decided to go work some of that energy up by going on a very long hike into the mountains and launching up the side of this very steep rock face. And it was pretty treacherous, but when you're 14, you're sort of like a monkey, so you don't have an appropriate sense of caution. And as I started to get close to the top of this, I found myself in a kind of a tricky spot. I'd overestimated my reach, and I'd got wrapped around this rock with my arms fully extended and my legs and feet where I couldn't see them. And as I was reaching around, the soil up there is volcanic. It's pumice. It's just worthless for grabbing hold of. And it started to dawn on me that I really couldn't go up and I couldn't go down. And I was feeling around with my feet, and there was just nothing else to stand on. So I turned around to assess my situation, and I was hanging about 6 or 7 stories up. I mean, if I fell, it was minimum a broken back, but much more likely that fall would kill me. And I suddenly started to realize that I was losing my strength. The longer I waited to make a decision about what I was going to do, the worse my situation was getting. And half of my brain was telling me not to do anything rash, and the other half was saying, you better do something right now. And while my brain was arguing and going back and forth, my legs just said, F this, and they fired like pistons, and I reached up as far as I could, and I got hold of a tree root that was shaped like a handle. And I pulled myself up, sort of peeked over the edge to get a nice good look at what almost happened, and oh man. Whew. And I rolled onto my back next to this old bristlecone pine. That was the root that I grabbed hold of. And I just lay there literally petting that root that had saved me and marveling at the beauty of everything. And for as far as the eye could see, in every direction, there was no sign of humanity. There was no roads, no buildings, no power lines, no airplanes, just a hawk circling in the clear blue sky and the smell of the sagebrush and the pines and the sound of wind. And I was thinking, oh, this is what it must have been like back when people were still, like they felt like they were part of the world and not separate from it. And I pulled myself into a seating position. I was sitting with my back against this old tree when I started to feel a very deep sense of understanding of everything. Like I understood everything, how everything was all connected in one infinite, interdependent web, and that all of our human concerns and cares and rivalries were just so sad and silly. And yet I felt nothing but empathy and grace. And then all of a sudden that the window of awareness and understanding started to close. And I was like, no, wait. And then it was gone. And years went by, and I was at a party where I met a professor of neuroscience, and I described the story that I just told you. And he said, well, I hate to burst your bubble, but you were just stoned out of your mind. Your body had anticipated that you were going to fall to your death, so it had flooded your bloodstream with opioid neuropeptides and as painkillers, like the body's version of heroin. And when you didn't actually need it, you were just tripping balls. And I thought, oh, what a drag. But then years after that, I had a brilliant colleague from Mumbai, and we had some drinks, and I told him the same story, and I also told him what the neuroscientist had told me. And he shook his head very sadly, and he said, the causes of your insight do not make the observations less valid. Did you have the experience or not? I'm certain when we fall in love, there are surges of hormones and chemicals and processes that produce the euphoria. So should we just shrug it off and say, no, love is not worthy of poetry because it's all just biochemistry? Or should we embrace the joy and marvel at the experience? And I feel badly for your doctor friend. For all his intelligence, he belittles the profound. That tree that saved you, it was here before the pyramids.
All right.
I love it
That's pretty profound.
because I that empathy and grace that he described, or the feeling that he described, that understanding that everything is connected. That's what I describe all the time as the source.
Right.
People describe as God or
But
source.
it answers your question.
Yes, it does. It does.
Is that it's not about whether
doesn't-
it was a series of chemicals in your system or something external influencing you. It was you had that experience.
And that empathy and that grace that he described, I feel that every single day. I mean, in the past year, my entire personality has changed. My entire demeanor has changed for the better. I'm much less volatile than I used to be, much less quick to anger, even in the mornings. I do occasionally let it out, but it's not as often. I don't panic like I used to. And we had a pretty crazy experience this morning, and I didn't panic. So, the whole thing is literally life changing. Whatever caused it, I don't care. Because it's most definitely been for the better. Even though I believe that we're probably going to go through some of the hardest times that anybody's experienced in living memory.
Right. And let's talk about this.
So face it with grace.
You had asked me about the spiritual experiences I had. Do I think that was maybe some external force trying to influence me in a certain way? I bring the same argument, and we can't say the names here, of the 17th letter stuff, right? Is some people say that was a psyop, that was performed by the bad guys to basically lull humanity. And I come back and I say, even if it was, that has woken up hundreds of millions of people around the world, caused us to take over the whole information domain back into the power and control of the people, doing what we do right now simply because of that. And if that was the case, we owe them a debt of gratitude, because that was the wake-up call. And so whether that negative influence or positive influence or environmental or spiritual or natural, or it was something created within your own biochemistry, is that you can never discount someone's experience. And I think that is important to understand, is you cannot discount someone's so my brother is a schizophrenic. Oh my God, Jim. That's hilarious.
So she was talking about transformation of people, right? And what I have where I was and where I am. I thought I'd share that with you to let you see a little. That's 2016.
So okay. So I just sent it. I sent it.
You want to share that with everybody?
But so my brother's a schizophrenic, right? And he, at the age of 16, started to go through some very rough changes in his life, and I started to notice it, of how he was going through these radical changes within his mind. And to me and everybody around him, we're like, whoa, dude, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? Dude, you're not normal. And he's like, no, but I'm seeing this. And I wonder how different it would have been is if we embraced what he was actually seeing as his own experiences and helped him understand the subjective experience that he was going from, that was not a confirmation of reality, but instead something that was dependent upon him. And utilize that for that perspective.
So wait a minute. I have a question for you. Who diagnosed your brother as schizophrenic?
Doctors.
Okay. Got one more question. What was your brother seeing?
So originally when it started, before they started putting him on some very bad drugs, basically, he was saying that he was being abducted by aliens every night. They were probing him. This happened in Ohio, in the middle of nowhere, on a hippie commune, when he was sleeping in an old tour bus with a skylight. And when he came home, like it started kind of like, it started exasperating. It started getting worse and worse and worse. And then he got into psychedelic drugs. And like when he would get into psychedelic drugs, he always thought people were poking him with needles and injecting him with stuff. But it started out with like alien abductions. It started out with
like, wait a minute. What you're telling me is your brother was the original conspiracy theorist.
Oh yeah, he was absolutely a conspiracy theorist.
I mean, by technical definition, as of today, your brother was the original conspiracy theorist. And you mean to tell me you've been hiding this fact from us for how long?
Oh, well, there's more. He also thought Hitler's gold was buried in my great-grandmother's backyard.
There's probably a possibility to that. So keep going. Josh Gates has showed us that Hitler's gold made it to America. So what's the next conspiracy you're going to debunk tonight?
Well, you know what's interesting about it is many of the things that he would say would make sense later on down the road, but they were perceived differently. And so my idea on schizophrenia is that we all have a that reality itself is a frequency that is transmitted. Like you have a consensus of reality that's transmitted, right? And you have this bell curve that comes up. And let's say that the modern reality is 103.5 on the radio dial, okay?
Correct.
And most people are sitting at that 103.5 and some variation of that. Some of us are at like 105.7, 109, right? And we're sitting here going, dude, you guys are crazy. You don't see this shit going on? And they're all like, dude, you guys are batshit crazy, right? And then you have a schizophrenic who is in between. He's in the static between channels.
What if he's not?
Yeah.
Just throwing this out there, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Let's just take my own experience.
Had
I what I had seen when I was a kid, everybody would have thought I was schizophrenic too. Mm-hmm. Everybody would have thought that I was crazy. Everybody would have thought that this is shit I've seen for years, folks. I've always been able to see this. Never understood why. Not until at least the last
year and a half.
2 years, yes. Last 2 years, it's become relevant as to why I'm aware of all of this. But things I've seen, things I just can't explain. For instance, I was at a party with 11 other infantry dudes standing around getting drunk because one of our buddies, his kid or his wife, who he thought he was fixed, just gave birth to twins, which now gave him from 4 kids. Now he's got 6 kids to take care of.
And they were all his.
I got 6 kids, man.
And so we're sitting there, and one of the older kids goes into the bedroom where the new 2 babies are. And we're listening to this over a little wireless microphone.
Baby monitor.
You get a bunch of infantry guys around a baby monitor. I tell you what, we're all listening like hawks because we're the first motherfuckers running that door with a gun drawn, ready to kill the first son of a gun trying to touch that baby. Mm-hmm. That's not supposed to be there. We hear the older brother go in there. And he sits there and he touches their heads and he says, "Oh, beautiful babies." And then he says the most profound thing I've ever heard my whole entire life. He said, "Can you tell me what God looks like? Because I forgot."
That's cute. Wow.
And there's 11 infantry dudes that all of a sudden just dropped their beer. And we stopped drinking for the whole night because we all went home. We said, that's something I'm never going to forget. I will repeat that to the end of my life. And I still get goosebumps.
Yeah.
Just telling
the
story.
That is pretty profound.
Because to hear a kid say, what does God sound like? Because
what does God look like?
Or what does God look like? Because I forgot. And he's only
4
at the time. He's 3 years older.
Not even 4 years.
Not even
older.
4 years older.
Newborn.
They were just newborns. That's just crazy to hear that. It stops everything you believe. I don't care what you believe. You can believe anything at that point. But I can tell you right now, there's 2 things that are real. God is real. And kids can see him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we can't. There's a reason why we can't. What is that reason that's preventing us from us seeing God?
That we've lost our childlike minds.
We've
Up until the age of 7, we work in the theta brain, which allows us to take away from this 3 and 4 third dimensional world we live in, and you can really see past that. That's why kids see things and understand things, and that's why they're afraid of some people and not afraid of others. I've had children literally in grocery stores just reach out for me, and I'm really good with kids, but I'm like, hey, cool, look, I know you like, but
I don't want to get arrested today.
Yeah, this is right. I don't have bail money on me, so please stay over there, right? So,
see, our almost 11-year-old, he'll be 11 in less than 3 weeks. He's not lost that.
Yeah, he has it.
He still sees
it. He can see it in everybody.
It's crazy, and I'll tell you,
he can see the bad guys and the good guys, and he tells me that all the time.
To reiterate on my brother though, is I think that drugs had a big aspect of this. Is that we all started drug use really early in life, psychedelic drug use, and I think that that might have messed up some neural connections, but. I mean, there was more things going on. He was incredibly violent. He would have massive spells of adrenaline. He would be throwing people around like 220-pound men, just picking them up and throwing them across the room.
Sounds like he had a demonic attachment.
Well, that was actually something that many actually thought. Oh, okay, hold on a second.
Yeah. What? Oh, lights are back on.
Power! Look at you go.
No. My computer's about to die.
So the lights got brighter just before.
I didn't know they gave a warning before they died. I thought they just quit on you.
Hold on, I'm still here. I can hear you guys. I just gotta adjust something real quick.
Yeah, that's okay. We can make fun of you while you listen.
It's hysterical.
Just don't turn the audio off.
Yeah, don't turn the audio off this time.
Yeah. Don't walk away.
Yeah,
but
no, I didn't turn the audio off. It lost power.
Well, whatever
we're
you
just making
did
fun of
to
you,
it,
Josh.
we're just making fun of you.
Yeah,
it's
because we love you.
Yeah, we wouldn't do it if we didn't.
Exactly.
And we were dancing. I was wiping the corners of the screen. I was getting it.
I was rubbing my nipples. I was doing all of that.
So YMCA. Yeah. Anyway, that's now think about though. I mean, we talk about ayahuasca and we talk about different things like that actually, mushrooms, the psychedelic mushrooms that actually open up neural connections and then cause you to be able to take out the cobwebs. That's one way. If anybody's ever done mushrooms, I believe, huh?
I am doing it right now. I've been doing it.
He does microdoses.
Absolutely. It's
for his
perfect.
PTSD. It's amazing. It's done amazing things.
I am off of all of my, I used to take two handfuls.
THC, CBD, and psilocybin. He's off all big pharma drugs.
I used to take 2 handfuls of medication for everything from seizures down to
blood pressure,
down to my cholesterol,
narcolepsy, everything.
Yep. And now I use pot because I smoke pot.
Right.
The DA gives me a card for it. I go pick up the bullshit weed they give me, which is all Mexican dirt weed.
Freaking dirt weed.
Right.
Straight out of the cartel.
I have a guy who buys it from me because he loves it. Whatever, dude.
That guy.
Hey. You, bro. As long as you keep producing the cash, I keep
the good
producing
shit.
the weed.
It's fine.
I give her the cash, and we get the good stuff.
Right.
But the point is between the weed, psilocybin, and the mushrooms.
That is the mushroom style. And the
It is
CBD.
the mushroom.
And the CBD.
Yeah, CBD.
CBD is actually for your anxiety. CBD will help lower your anxiety. So you can actually take a lot of CBD.
Yep.
People don't realize they don't take enough usually is what the problem is. They're just not doing it to the extent.
Serious CBD right there.
The best stuff.
Go get some.
Yep, best stuff on earth.
So the psilocybin mushrooms, when you take those in microdoses, it really goes in and cleans out the cobwebs and allows you to detach away from all those feelings and get away from that. So you do like 1 gram to 3 grams, depending on your effect and what you want. And I've seen people eat up to an ounce of mushrooms.
That's a lot.
A gram is a full trip. You're
talking about losing your mind. No. You do like a half gram.
Not even.
To less than
I
that.
think it's like a quarter.
What am I doing then? What am I doing? So I'm doing not gram. What is it? Yeah, gram. No, what is it?
Yeah, maybe a
microdose is like a microdose. It's like it's below a half gram.
It's not
so
even
I've been microdosing at 1 gram.
Well, then you've been doing some serious good
Then
shit.
you've been dosing. You've been dosing.
So when I go to 3 grams, that's the problem.
That's a macro dose.
I've been doing the microdoses. The
We
microdoses,
did
literally,
like
I do.
2 grams.
I win.
And we were
I
on,
win.
I was on the floor.
I win.
She was on the floor talking to dinosaurs
No, talking to the cookie actually.
and cookies.
I do 3. I do 1 for micro and 3 for a dose. So
Yeah,
No, I've been doing. It's a tincture that we were given. It's a mushroom.
right.
What's that? Mushroom and sassafras.
Mushroom and sassafras tincture.
Trash. Yeah.
And I do
It's
a
amazing.
shot under the tongue every morning. And I tell you what, if it wasn't for the sassafras, I would do it every day. The problem is the sassafras because it'll fuck you up in your gut. You will shit weird for about a week.
It's also an anti-parasitic, so it's helping cleanse out your system. We had that whole conversation last night. We had the best, an awesome holistic healer on last night, a naturopathic doctor.
Oh, did
Talked
you guys
all
hear the
about
news?
parasite cleansing.
What's that?
Barbara Walters, dead,
Yeah.
93.
No
Is
shit.
she now?
Barbara Walters.
She was still alive.
She was like 4 jabs deep, I think.
Yeah.
Surprised she made it that long.
I can't believe she was 93 though. But,
Yeah.
I can. You know, people used to live till their 90s. It wasn't
not
till
so much
now
anymore.
that, like, when I start asking questions, like, what really happened? And then I start getting lambasted on whether it's social media, whether it's Instagram or Twitter. It doesn't matter.
Oh, don't ask that.
Don't dare
no,
you
don't
ask that question.
Don't ask that.
Why not? And then I
what
had
about,
somebody who had balls enough to
Pele?
actually go
Pele.
back after me and say, well, wait a
wait,
minute.
they always come in threes. Pele, Barbara Walters.
Who's number 3?
Pele died?
Pele.
Yeah,
Pele
Pele
died,
died.
yeah.
He died
I didn't
yesterday.
know he was alive. I got to keep up on my.
Dude,
It's
It's
Pele-
funny. I thought both of these people were already dead.
I did too. I mean, are we missing? Did we time slip here? Or,
Listen, let's just talk about this because I think that this needs to be
Tomorrow is
addressed.
Betty White, then we're definitely in a time slip because
I was gonna say,
last year.
I think the fucking world ended in 2012. I honestly do. And,
Yes.
and this is just a regurgitation of all the shit that's already happened. Like coming,
Are we
wait,
in Lost?
like tomorrow Saddam Hussein's gonna die. We're gonna be sitting here going, dude.
Are we
Again?
in Lost?
Like
That's
the
what we
10th
are.
time?
We're in the TV series Lost. We're in purgatory. Is that what you're telling me, Josh? Seriously?
I always say that our youngest, our 11-year-old, who's the most, probably the strongest empath that I've ever seen. It's insane. But I always call him our miracle baby because he was conceived and born after the doctors told me that well after his expiration date, because he had major brain surgery 18 years ago and the doctors told me he'd be dead in 5 years. And so our youngest was conceived and born after that, born in 2012. Just saying. Maybe
Mother of the Antichrist.
mother. No, you call me the mother of the apocalypse for a reason. Maybe maybe you cheating death and his birth. It's like, what was that movie?
The one where they cheat
where they
death.
cheat death and death comes back around, and that I think on like the 6th iteration of it, like the pregnant woman, like the baby has to be born in order for the whole thing to
The
reset.
whole thing to reset.
Right? Maybe that's the deal. Like you were supposed to die, and the little one being born like completely fucked up the timeline. That's a good possibility.
I don't know, but I think that many people are coming to the same conclusion, especially when we start looking at the world for what it truly is that there's something off.
Yeah.
There's something off with reality.
Yeah.
Like there's this I just saw the video the other day. There's this Harry Potter actress, right? And this one guy, he's a Hollywood actor. I don't know what he played in, but he's a Hollywood actor.
Okay.
And he came out and he's like, this is weird. I wanted to talk about it. He's on his TikTok. He goes, this is weird. I wanted to talk about it. He goes, I know this woman. Like, I'm in Hollywood. I know this woman. I've had conversations with this woman. I remember when she died, I was so sad. And then I saw this video on TikTok and I said, no way. She can't still be alive. And he went and checked and she's still alive. And she's actually starring in a new movie. And he goes, this can't be true. I remember her dying. Like, I know her. And this is becoming more and more common, that people are recognizing more and more of these Mandela effects.
Mandela effects.
Dude, I'm seeing them just in my research. Like, I have notes, like I will write in my notebook like a reference to a piece of information, and I'll go back and it's changed. It's gone. And like, I'll even write like website, name, quote.
Do you want me to go get the box?
No, it's buried.
No, it's not. It's right there. I can go grab it right now. But it weighs about a fucking ton.
What's in the box?
We have every story we have ever talked about on the air.
Oh, yeah,
printed out in a box.
Multiple boxes, actually.
Yeah, it's now 2 boxes.
But, you know, that's different
But
because
they're the tough boxes, but
they
they're
change their
printed out.
online stories all the time. So
And they love to go back and change the story. I have stories that don't even make sense now because they've gone back and changed what the print copy was.
Oh, how about this? Hold on.
How
about this shit?
About it.
A few years ago, okay? One of the guys that used to be on the platform, everybody knew him as Amicus Fred. Me and him were out one night, and I had just watched a few TikTok videos, and this was one about the Milky Way galaxy. And it was saying that where is Earth located in the Milky Way galaxy, right? And I grew up that Earth was on the outer arm of the Milky Way galaxy, okay? That we are in the farthest out reaches of the Milky Way galaxy. And this TikTok video is coming up, and it starts talking about, you thought that we were on the outer arm of the Milky Way galaxy, which is known as the Sagittarius arm. And he goes, actually, we're not. And this is the new Mandela effect, is that we're in the middle of the galaxy on the Orion arm. And I'm like, no, we're not. Right? And he goes on and shows videos of Neil deGrasse Tyson, Carl Sagan, all talking about how we are on the outer edge of the galaxy. But then he goes on the show, all the scientific evidence out there says that we're on this in the Orion arm in the middle of the galaxy. I go up and look it up. Boom, right there. We're on the Orion arm in the middle of the galaxy. And I'm like, no fucking way. No, and you can't find any record whatsoever. Any record that we're on the outer arm.
I was born under Sagittarius. Trust me, I've always known us to be under the Sagittarius arm of the outer galaxies of the Milky Way belt. I've always known that.
Yeah. So that night, Fred and I were having some beers, and we're kind of going over some things. And I'm like, this is crazy. And I said, Fred, we were talking. I'm like, dude, I know the stars. I've been living at this house for a decade. I know the stars. I go, it was about August time frame. I said, Orion is going to rise up over here, right? And it's northeast, in the northeast area, or around that area, above this neighbor's house right here.
Well, where you were in Colorado, yeah.
Where we were in Colorado. It came up in the southeast, and I started freaking out. I took pictures of it. I posted it on social Repill.
Okay, so
hold on.
No. You're going to fucking lose your mind. Stand by. I had an argument with a colonel in the Army. He was a Special Forces colonel. I said, that is the North Star. He argued with me up and down. He even went as far to pull up his Apple iPhone app. Right? Now understand, he had learned the stars 30 years before I even knew what stars were. Okay? So he knew the stars long before I ever did. I told him, no, you're wrong. That's the North Star. Him and my father-in-law went after me. I'm telling you, with teeth out. I've never, ever seen two men more possessed.
My father is a merchant marine.
Life.
He spent 20 years on ships. That man knows the stars.
More in my life, I've never, ever seen two men come after me with teeth out, right? I said, no, you're wrong. That is the North Star. They pulled up their Apple iPhone app. They shined it up the sky like you're supposed to do. Sure enough, they're looking at the North Star. They were like, holy fuck, you're right. And I sat there and I was like, what do you want me to say? But that is a perfect example of the Mandela effect.
Yeah.
I mean, these two guys were coming after me like I had just murdered their mothers.
Probably what, 5-6 years ago?
That was like 8 years ago.
Yeah. Okay. So, hey, you know how all 8 planets were in alignment? What, 2-3 days ago?
Okay.
Right. How often does that happen?
Once a year.
Yeah, it happened twice in 3 months.
Well, it's relative perspective from the Earth, but I mean.
So welcome to the Truman Show.
Yeah, welcome to the simulation Earth. We're getting ready for season 2023, and it's going to be off the hook.
Now, I've had conversations. It's sweeps weeks.
Here's
That's
the
why
interesting thing
going
about
crazy all of a sudden. It's sweeps weeks. They're trying to get the ratings up.
Let me finish the Orion story, okay? So we watch Orion come. I take pictures of it. I tell everybody on the platform about it, and I'm freaking out about this shit, okay? So I kind of learn to accept it. I'm like, okay, this must be a Mandela effect. I must have transitioned into some other alternate universe, right? Guess what? Everything's back to normal now. We're now back on the outer edge of the galaxy. We're back in the Sagittarius arm.
Wait, what?
I'm fucking dead serious.
Where?
Since when?
Since when?
Last year?
July?
I don't know.
We wonder because there was
July when they turned CERN back on?
Maybe.
Because I got to tell you, I didn't know we were back outside of the inner ring.
Inner ring.
The last time I had heard, we were stuck still on the.
I heard. Uranus is Pluto's a planet again.
Uranus, the planet. Uranus. She's got a one-track mind. God. He's a happy man. We're all doing it.
He was in
You're
the
damn
Navy.
skippy.
It's not over, all right?
Hey.
Holy shit.
His butt plug has
60's a new 40, right? Or whatever that means. You guys are doing great. Keep it up.
Hey, I just want to make sure you understand this, Josh. That was the Air Force guy, not the Army guy.
In the Air Force.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm seeing
Navy.
discrepancies. I'm on Google.
Yeah,
and
I'm
there's
doing
some saying that there's some science sites saying that we're on the outer edge, some saying we're in the middle.
Yeah, there's one right here that has us on the outer edge, and then there's another one that's got us towards the middle.
Yep.
See, you guys do all that online shit during your shows. I don't do that.
Oh, yeah? You go out and rub 2 sticks in your backyard
I fact check
together and
myself. That's okay.
do that.
Now, if you have a guest on, you'll look something up.
Yeah, if I'm.
But otherwise, we pretty much have everything ready before the show. But
try to.
If you're in the backyard rubbing sticks together, you're not microdosing anymore, sir. You are overdosing.
Yeah, so this is directly from NASA. This is directly from NASA. And we are in the Orion Spur right there in the middle of the galaxy.
Wait a minute. The first problem with what you just said is you said it was directly from NASA.
Was that funded by Disney?
Nationally funded.
Hey, Josh, hey, let me ask you a quick question, guys, about
this.
That.
Must be the truth.
NASA, you're telling me that Elon Musk is still trying to get those rockets to come back and land every single time perfectly, but yet we never lost one lander.
Jim, I explained this to you the other day.
I still do. We are 100% landing and taking off on the moon every single time with a watch calculator's worth of calculation computing power. Come on.
So I
thought they lost the technology to go to the moon.
Right?
What happened to that?
Why is it supposedly all we can see if you're looking from Earth to the moon, right, with a powerful enough telescope? Supposedly, you can only see one lander site. Now that I only say that
you can only ever see one side of the moon.
I only say that supposedly because supposedly we can only see one side of the moon, since my wife just decided to jump in
because I'm good like that.
Halfway through the middle of that.
Well, you get to the point faster.
Didn't let me finish the other half of it, which is the other 2 sites should also be visible to man's eye from the Earth. So now my question becomes, where are the other 2 lander sites?
What do you mean 2? How many times did we land on the moon? 3 times total?
No, we landed a total of 6. Supposedly 6, 3 that we can see visibly to the naked eye, supposedly.
Sounds fit to me.
So my question automatically becomes, where are the other two lander sites that we can supposedly
Well, were
see?
they in craters so you can't see them?
Bullshit. You're supposed to be able to see them everywhere. You're supposed to be able to see that flag flying high. That's what
I
we
don't
were
know.
told.
I thought they were
Apollo 11,
I thought they were
Apollo
up in
14,
Canada.
and
Oh, no,
Apollo
that was the Mars
17.
landing.
Those were
That
the
was in
three
Canada.
that we
New
were
Mexico.
supposed to see
That's where it is. New
from the
Mexico.
Earth.
Well,
that
I
was-
think that we went to the moon, but everything that we've seen in the sense of photos and videos is garbage.
You mean the remote camera worked when they were landing?
You mean taking off? They were leaving, and the camera was live streaming from the moon.
Oh,
It taking off, and they're like, "Oh yeah, this is real time." And I'm sitting there going, "How did you do that?
Yes. But
First of
now
all,
they
it's like
want-
Nice wireless technology you have there."
Yeah.
that's why it's 12-minute delay on that signal from the Earth to the moon. So sure, that was live.
And it's not even an automated pan. You can tell it's some dude holding a camera going like this.
He's got a crank on the side of it.
You can see that elbow ratchet.
Now, I do believe we went to the moon.
I don't.
I don't believe that that any of the footage that we've seen from it is true. And you want to know one of the reasons why I think that we've been there, but none of the stuff that we brought back or anything like that is legitimate,
Transformers
is that China just went
in the skies.
China just went to the moon and brought back a whole bunch of samples. And within the samples, they found the first ever newly discovered mineral that is full of helium-3, a new energy source. And why the fuck, out of the tons of stuff that the United States brought back, did they discover this?
Okay, so but helium-3, a new energy source. Do you remember the movie? Oh, what was it? The Coming Race.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about the Manhattan Project.
No.
Because the Manhattan Project talks about
in
helium-3.
that campy ass movie, The Coming Race, that the Nazis have helium-3, like factories on the dark side of the moon.
No, you're talking. It's not the Coming Race. It's
You know, that's the subtitle. Of the
where
movie.
Hitler's riding the Tyrannosaurus Rex and shit.
That's the second
Yes.
one. Yeah,
That's the second one.
Yeah, the first one's called The Coming Race. And the second one's
Tornado. That's, I mean, it's the same.
yeah.
It is the same thing.
Same.
Because that's a weird Class B sci-fi bullshit that these two
I
are
love
into.
this shit. It's fantastic.
So let me ask you this: I talked a little bit about this week. Fusion. They were able to successfully do fusion. What are your thoughts?
Since
Cold or hot?
1986. Okay, didn't Val Kilmer do a movie about that?
Yeah, because we've been able to do cold fusion since 1984.
I thought it was Fusion GPS. Why don't we talk about that anymore? Oh, it's politics. Never mind.
Well, it's
Now
politics.
it's hot
We can't talk
fusion.
about that.
Now it's hot fusion because they want to be able to.
Fusion.
Hot fusion is centralized. Cold fusion would be decentralized. And if that's about
Well,
to get out,
yes and
then,
no.
you know.
I mean, you have LENR, low energy nuclear reactions, LENR cold fusion, and those are getting pushed out to the public. But the fusion one is significant because they have like 180. No, they have 220% over unity on these devices. Now, do you understand that, like, if we look at the evolutional branch of humanity, we can look at various different technological advancements that has basically spawned us into the next golden age and such. And so this fusion development that is being released to the public now, I think it's been around for a while, that's being released to the public,
Been around for 20 years at least.
is one of those evolutionary jumps for mankind. Like, this is going to take us outside of the solar system to other planets. It's going to take us to Mars in just a few hours. It's going to take us to Jupiter in a few days.
It depends if we can figure out plasma fusion. Because the next big jump is the plasma side of that, because you have to figure out of this atmosphere propulsion. Out of this atmosphere propulsion, you have to dispel something to push you.
Oh, no. They have what's called ion thrusters or ion thrust propulsion.
Exactly, which is a plasma-based propulsion system, which again requires a plasma base for it.
I know of at least
Not
two
if you are
people
able to
with,
bend the gravitational force that causes the two planes to come
That's
close
not
together.
necessarily true with what they're developing here. So basically, what they're doing is they're electrifying hydrogen protons and they're sending them out. And that's not a plasma. That's more of just a heightened state of a proton. But you could do it with plasma propulsion as well. but that would be much harder because you would have to create the plasma. Then you would have to have a sustainment. You would have to have some type of fuel supply. Even with, this is why H3 helium is so important, because this is one of the things that helium-3 could be used for, is a fuel supply for the ion thruster engines.
Or a plasma-based ion thrusted engine. You're absolutely right. I completely agree.
Well, and you're right that if you had a sustained plasmic reaction, all you would need to do is shoot your fuel across that, and you have your ion thrust. I understand exactly what you're saying.
Because the Navy was the one, you motherfuckers were the assholes that designed it.
Yeah. Stole it.
Well, stole it from the Air Force, whatever.
You want to know what I think we need? You know what I think we're going to need here? We're going to need fucking plasma guns. We're going to need electrical bolt guns.
Isn't that what they had in Star Trek?
Yeah, we're going to need phasers.
Phasers to stun.
Dude, have you seen these robots they're making?
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about
I have a buddy of mine who owns one of those robot dogs that they can use artillery with, or not artillery, but gun on. I have a buddy of mine who owns one. He does security.
You're going to put a 12 gauge in the back of my German Shepherd.
It's creepy what it can do. It jumps out of the back of the truck.
I got a 150-pound half-grown wolfhound.
This is a robot.
You can put a gun on him, and let me tell you something. He'll shoot everything moving.
He's got a freaking velociraptor claws.
Well, when they were talking about, what was it, California was going to do that, but they lowered it down or something to the robot dogs. But they're real.
But so think about this, is that with the level of technology that's coming out, robot technology, this type of thing, killer dogs, kamikaze drones, you need some type of You haven't seen these kamikaze drones in Ukraine and Russia?
Oh, yeah. No, we've seen them.
Oh,
yeah.
I've seen.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
So-
I know about it.
Yeah. So you need some type of electromagnetic gun.
Why? Well, the railgun. If you think about what the railgun was proposed for, the railgun was proposed for an electronic or electromagnetic force behind a steel-propelled object.
Well,
Okay.
steel or nickel cadmium.
Nickel, yeah,
Soft metal.
whatever the ongoing soft metal was that day. But they could launch it. You could launch that motherfucker from a distance.
Yeah,
and
6,000 miles per hour.
Yeah.
It would hit its target dead on. My question is what telemetry were they using on the round? Because if it's a flat Earth, you were actually just pointing at it and shooting the trigger. That's all that really mattered.
It's not a flat Earth, buddy.
Yeah, it's not.
I'm just saying.
It's not.
Possibilities are out there.
So, Mick, if it's a flat Earth, what is pulling the bullet to the ground?
That's a great question because gravity is only a theory. So I'm asking where the law is because there's no law in a theory that I've ever heard of.
Well, theories are dynamic, so they're ever changing. But a theory is a set. No.
Now
It's not the theory of gravity.
You just it most certainly is a theory. It is not it's a law based on what? It was based on a theory. It was not a law based on anything else.
Mick, let me help you out here. All science is theory. Okay? All science is theory. And theories are built upon observable phenomena, empirical data that is repeatable through experimentation that has been set down as a set of postulates. Okay? With gravity, we don't need to know what it is. We know how it works. And this is seen in rocket technology and propulsion technology and shooting rockets to the moon.
I'm going to argue your point. 100% your point.
Go ahead. That was
I have been taught to fire a round from a 7.62 rifle from a mile away.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I know exactly what it takes. I know exactly the equation, spin drift. It equates to everything to include the curvature of the earth.
No, there's not much curvature at that distance, but okay.
At a mile, at 6 inches per foot, yeah, there's a bit of curvature.
The curvature is insignificant at that range because of the rate of gravity is going to overcome it by a significant amount.
My question is when I fire that round using the equation, I hit the target. When I fire that round, cold barrel shot, Cold barrel shot. No
It's
bullshit.
so cold in
no
here.
math. Like, I'm just like, hey, I'm putting the fucking buttstock in my shoulder. I'm looking through the scope saying, yeah, this looks about right. Why am I still hitting the target? No math involved, still hitting the target.
Because you're an expert marksman.
I'm good at what I do.
Yeah.
I've heard that before.
It's instinctual.
So then I asked the question, why is it when a boat on the ocean fires a laser over 3,000 fucking miles, that laser still hits the target? And there's
Okay, what boats are shooting a laser 3,000 miles?
US
laser.
What U.S. Navy boat is shooting what laser?
No, you have to do careful.
Laser beams that bend.
Destroyers?
Okay.
Destroyers that say, hey, look, we're going to hit this target dead on. How do you know that? Well, I have a laser guided distance. How do you have that? That's impossible.
Wait, are you talking like a Tomahawk?
The laser's being painted by.
Stop. Hold on. These are systems I worked on. Okay.
Okay. So explain, please, because
yes, I will explain.
Hear this explanation, because all I've heard is it was a laser that told me. Oh, it was a laser that told you.
So there's a few different methodologies that can actually happen here. Number one is you've seen this with SF forces where they actually have a laser that they pin on a target, and various different types of missile systems can actually pick up that laser and detect it on the signal targeting and hit that. With that Tomahawk and such, like long-range missiles, ICBMs, these types of things, they're utilizing satellite navigation. So that when it's launching off that ship and it goes and it takes off and it's flying for 100 miles, it's being navigated by satellites in the sky. When it gets close to range proximity of an actual target, that is through geopositioning or actually someone on target, on-prem, that is lighting that target up, showing them where to hit.
That does not do anything for your argument, because
it doesn't mean I know
exactly. It does, because they're not shooting lasers 3,000 miles from a ship around the Earth.
What that means now is that there were U.S. soldiers and U.S. sailors and or U.S. service members on the ground at the time in which some of these Tomahawks would have been fired, in which case we were told
there's a Hawkeye over top, there's a plane over top lighting it up from the air. There's a lot of ways that this happens.
Oh yeah.
I won't argue that, because I've seen
now we launch drones from the United States that are flown simply through satellite telemetry all the way across the world. We got one of their pilots right there in the chat. He's a Reaper pilot, and he'll tell you the Earth's not flat. He's also a real pilot.
Hey, ass clown. Wow, I didn't know you were a Reaper pilot. Were you really? Yeah, because one of the call signs that we called all the time was ass clown.
Ass clown.
Josh wasn't in the service that long. Come on now.
That was the Reaper pilots that we called Ass Clown 67. That's who I always called for.
I bet he was Ass Clown 16. I bet he was Ass Clown. But no, listen.
69, baby.
But listen. The flat Earth argument. David Whitehead and I are doing a show next Wednesday on this, on flat Earth.
I'm gonna watch that.
The Earth is not flat.
Actually, I think it's a plain hollow and a globe all at the same time.
And a donut.
And a donut.
So I got something interesting for you. Okay, I do think in hollow Earth theory, I think that there is some credence to that. Okay, but we were talking the other day, and someone said, if this is an actual simulation, and the artificial intelligence can control the simulation individually, then here's the thing: is maybe flat Earthers are right in that in their reality that is being projected by the simulation, the Earth is flat, and that globe Earthers are right because in their reality being projected by the simulation, it's round.
Come on, Matrix. Don't push too hard now. You're going to hurt
So now I ask both of you a serious question, because what you just said sounds absolutely so fucking crazy.
But it's so real.
It does. It makes sense. But now I ask you to explain that. Explain that.
That's interdimensional.
Oh, no. That's not something
that's a different simulation.
It's a crossover.
The problem is that
It's a crossover
you
simulation.
Yeah.
even
The
according
dude went to the
watched
dude
first.
went to the app store and picked up some new merch before he came into this game. Go ahead, Jim. Sorry.
The video that we talked about in the very beginning of all this. If we can be modified through frequency in the air, and we understand that words have meanings and that those words are articulated and causing a vibration that affects everybody differently. Someone hearing my voice could be it's pleasing to them and the other person's irritating or whatever it is. The thing is if we know that we can do that with our voice and we know that we can do that with our mind and our heart, honestly, when we say that we're in the matrix, we're creating the matrix ourselves. We're having the experience that we create around us. And in reality, it's individual. And even though we talk and share those ideas, we start to draw in a reality that's similar. So we bring more people closer to us that think or see the same things we see. It's just like people, not everybody's watching the show, right? We don't have 360 million Americans watching the show right now, right? Because there are people outside of our sphere that see things differently than we do. And so in reality, our consciousness is creating the reality we see individually, but then we bring others into it by touching their reality as well.
Dude, I don't disagree.
I have a question for you on that, because there are a number of pilots that have, and my brother is one of them, who have come out and they have talked about some of the things. And my brother used to fly F-14s for the Navy. Okay. He flew F-14s for the Navy for over 14 years before he finally got out and he said, I'm not going to be an airline pilot. And whatever. He's a nerd. He's an uber nerd. But I asked the question.
Yeah, he works on transhumanism projects.
Yes. But I asked the question because what about all these things that Navy pilots have been seeing for like years that we're just finding out about now?
Another part of the simulation?
Shit, like what part of the simulation does that fit into, I guess is the question. Because that doesn't seem like shit we should see. And then I asked the question, what about other people like, for instance, me? I'll give a perfect example. Somebody that's seen something that they probably shouldn't have. I've seen a lot of shit. And there's a reason why we put that picture up there. It's not because it's fun. It's because it may have been something I've already seen. So I asked the question, why was I able to see that? What part of this makes any sense to anybody? I don't think as humans we're ever going to understand it until it's way past the time of expiration. I'm just saying that's just what
So do you understand that we think of things in different planes, right? And so us as a three-dimensional being can barely understand the fourth dimension and much less the fifth or sixth dimension that we know that actually exists. So in reality, when you think about an ant and its dimension, or you think about something that's even inside the earth that thinks it's the entire world, or something that's a microorganism in a glacier that's living in its own little sphere of oxygen and everything else, inside of that, they think they are the biggest and greatest thing, right?
Correct.
So in reality, we actually, I'm starting to lose my train of thought on this, but I don't know where I was going. I forgot.
Right on.
But we are
our own reality, and we predict or we project our reality based upon what our life experiences.
But if we bring each other into this, we become our own sphere of energy. So the more that we talk and gain the unilateral conversation of understanding each other, our universe actually grows greater and it grows stronger within ourselves. So our own energy can affect the energy around us outside of that, and we draw it into ourselves. So the more we come together, the greater we become.
Because back to the concept of source energy, because we are all at the core energetic beings, right? And we are all connected to each other, to every living thing through that energy, and connected to the source of that energy as well.
So you are me and I am you.
People, but as we interact with people, bring some Heinlein in there. But as we interact with people, that the energy exchange between us grows stronger, whether it's a physical or metaphysical interaction, virtual, whatever it is, and that's expanding your own personal universe. But that's also why things like manifestations is possible, or that's why prayer is possible. That's why genetic memory is a thing, because we are all connected. And if people that are connected pray for something, they are manifesting that reality within their own reality.
So then I have a very serious question for both of you, because you both seem to understand the same thing. So then I have the most delusional question of them all. Mm-hmm. Why do we see different timelines?
Because we're in different timelines.
How is that possible?
You're
If
in all
we're-
timelines infinitely, all at the exact same time.
Exactly.
And you, I am you, and you are me.
Time.
You are you seeing me, and I am me seeing you, and we observe each other, so then we become.
Isn't that
real.
the Lamb Chop song?
No,
That's
because,
what I was about to ask.
because
Actually, I was going to say, so
Skidamarinky rinky dink, skidamarinky doo.
because we each inhabit our own individual timeline, and sometimes those timelines cross over with other people's timelines, and sometimes they go along parallel to each other, and sometimes they split off for a little bit.
And other
But-
timelines end because they're over, and so then you split back out. Yeah.
But everybody has their own individual timeline.
So I'm metaphysically static free, is what you're saying.
Aw. Well, it's because you use bounce in your laundry, and that's why you're static free.
There we go.
Okay.
Finally, somebody
So-
got to my joke. Jesus Christ, took forever.
So a few things. Number
I've
one
been waiting for that all
is
night.
why does he look like that behind you, the angel? He stopped off at the App Store. He got a whole bunch of cool new NFTs that you don't have access to yet. That's what happened there. Number two, Aaron Valenti. Do you guys know the story of Aaron Valenti? So
I'm sure you're going to tell us.
Tell me about it.
I am going to tell everybody. Aaron Valenti was found dead in the back seat of her rental car on a residential street in San Jose's quiet Alameda neighborhood in 2019. Her parents believe she suffered a manic episode shortly before she disappeared, telling them in a phone call that it's all a game, we're in the Matrix. Valenti was a chief executive officer of a Salt Lake City-based app developer, Tinker Ventures. She was last heard from on October 7th when she went missing and missed her flight home. Tinker Ventures, by the way, was funded by a company known as InQtel. She was there in California at a conference, and by the way, she had DARPA contracts. And so she was there for a tech conference. And she had a meeting, came back from the meeting, called her dad in a panic rage from her car and told him none of this is real, that we're living in the Matrix, it's all a lie. And she died soon after that.
I believe it.
Oh no, it like literally happened.
No, literally. So I asked this question, and I'm dead serious, because so many people have said we're crazy. I used to work for the government, and the two gentlemen in the screen with me used to work for the government. One more time. The CIA killed JFK.
Yep.
The CIA just admitted they killed JFK. What else do you need to hear that you're not being fed the truth? We're trying
But
to
what
give
if they
you
didn't? What if
trying-
aliens killed CIA and the CIA just covered it up and blamed it on themselves?
The Jews killed the CIA. You know that as well as I do. Ye knows it. Everybody knows it. The Jews killed the CIA. It's just what happened.
Parents?
My point is this. What else do you need to hear?
I just want to know that you love me.
How much more
If you just
disclosure
tell me you love me.
Where else do we have to go? We've told you that the CIA killed JFK. The
They don't
CIA
care.
came out
They
and
don't care.
admitted they killed JFK.
They don't care. Think about it. Who would care? Who honestly at this point? Okay, the
Everybody
people,
worried about keeping the electric on, much less worrying about who killed JFK.
the people that were alive then, the boomers.
I wasn't alive then.
Or dead.
Exactly. They care because they remember it was the first, for a lot of them, seriously impactful moment of their life. Everyone remembers that was alive where they were when they found out that JFK got shot, right? Like we all remember where we were when 9/11 happened, or when Princess Diana was killed, or whatever it was.
I was a load inside my dad
Princess
until
Diana's dead?
with my mom.
Yes, or the Challenger exploded, that kind of thing, right? Impactful moments of your life. So, but for anyone that was born after that, except for freaks like you and, probably you guys on here and Corey Hughes and, things like that, like for the most part, it's a visceral thing. Like everybody's always known that Lee Harvey Oswald didn't fucking kill JFK. Like everyone knows that the CIA did it, or the Jews did it, or someone did it, but it wasn't who they said it was. So it's kind of like, okay, well, all right, fine. You finally gave that information up. Fantastic. What are you going to tell us next? That aliens landed at Roswell? No shit, Sherlock. No one cares anymore.
Okay.
They've got us too busy. They got us too distracted.
Hey, so everybody here knows Marla, right?
I'm going to sit down.
Marla? Who's Marla?
You guys
Marla
all
Maple.
know Palladian Marla?
Yeah.
Yep, from the Clay events. Everybody knows.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was going to invite her. She's laughing at us right now. But we've all met her. I know Jim knows her. You guys know her.
Yeah.
So just everybody say hi, Marla. She's out there.
Hi,
laughing.
Marla.
Hi, Marla.
Palladian Marla?
Yes.
Yeah.
You met her. I know
You'll know her.
I met her. I remember her. So if I remember her, I know you do.
Like Palladian Maria. Yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. So
Don't mind her.
we have two options. We can continue here and stream, or we can switch to Zoom and go to Fringe After Dark. What do you guys think?
It's up to you.
We can stay here. This is fine. We're gonna do Fringe After Dark, guys, here in a little bit,
I gotta
and
recharge
we'll go to that. But we're gonna stream for a little bit while longer. So I actually want to talk to you guys about this, Romans 12:2.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
No,
This has
you're
been
better-
like the most revealing Bible verse ever. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Think about that. Do not conform to the pattern of this world. Do not conform to the influences that are being perpetuated towards you, the information that is being thrown at you, but instead renew your mind with that information. Filter it, understand it, utilize it, evolve and grow.
Filter everything through the understanding of life, death, and God's kingdom.
Sure.
That's what I was told. That everything, true understanding comes when you filter everything through life,
Source.
death,
Through source.
and the kingdom of God.
Source, right?
So,
Life, death, and the kingdom of God.
yep. And so we talked about Bob Beck earlier, right?
Mm-hmm.
So watching Bob Beck's videos, this came out, and this is for everybody out there who's wondering. This is a patent that you can find on Google. The patent number is US 466589-8A. All right? And it's called the malignancy treatment. A body part of an animal affected with the malignant cells, cancer cells, is disposed within a magnetic coil and subjected to polarity of magnetic field pulses. The pulses having intensities of between about 1 and about 100 Tesla and characteristic frequencies of between about 5 and 1,000 kilohertz. The pulse magnetic field selectively inactivates and or destroys malignant cells with relatively little damage to normal tissue as compared to conventional radiation therapy procedures.
Trifenbendazole, CBD, and B17, and you'll be straight. Cancer is caused by parasites.
I disagree with that. I think that there's some truth in that, but it's not all cancers.
You're right.
But how about this? But how about this? But all
or-
cancer can be cured by frequency.
True that. Did you know that it is?
I'd say a combination of frequency and.
Well, that
Did
was a
you know-
patent I just read you. That's exactly
you
what
know,
that thing
Josh,
was for.
That you are cancer resistant, you are virus resistant, and you are not clonable. I don't know about Jim, but I know you particularly.
Yeah.
What is it?
Rh negative bloods.
Mm-hmm. Cancer resistant, virus resistant, and not clonable. You know why you're cancer resistant? Because parasites can't live in a copper-rich environment, and our blood is copper-based instead of iron-based.
That's why I drink out this copper cup.
I don't. It's because it keeps my vodka colder. That's why I drink out of a copper cup. I don't know about you, but
I made sure that there's no finish on the inside, and made sure that the water I keep in there all the time, alkaline water, and copper. And why you lose the color in your hair is because of copper deficiency. The moment you start getting gray hair, you are more susceptible to getting a heart attack instantly because of copper deficiency.
I watched right after you told me that. There's a video on TikTok, and it said the same thing. I was like,
Did
oh
it
my God,
really?
he must have been right.
so did you go immediately and start taking administrative amounts of copper?
It's
I just wanted to
especially
know.
important for you to take copper, Josh, because people without copper-based blood don't get enough copper as it is, and copper is a very essential the mineral.
You can't absorb zinc unless you have copper in your body.
Correct.
And people that are Rh negative that have copper based blood, we have to take, like I take a copper selenium supplement every single day. I stopped, actually, you're right, I stopped getting gray hairs. My hairdresser was like, what happened?
You can regain the color in your hair by bringing the copper back in your body. Jimmy Mikovits talks about this. We spent 2 hours with me and Jeff Adams. We sat there and talked about copper intake and how all these benefits, and just she was running through all the physiology of what copper does for your body, and it's amazing to see. Colloidal copper is actually a good way to take it. Other copper supplements as well.
Colloidal copper, good collagen.
Well, we've been doing colloidal silver.
No, we've been doing nano silver.
Or nano silver. Well, colloidal nano.
It's not colloidal, it's nano. Remember, he was talking about there were 3 different kinds, and he chose the nano.
Okay.
Over the colloidal, because nano silver will actually re-heal your teeth, like will regrow your teeth.
Yep. And iodine. You got to put iodine in there. So iodine's a mineral that helps you absorb and reset your thyroid. So real Lugol's iodine should be taken. I take a dropper full every day, and first thing in the morning. First thing I do.
Iodine's especially important in the South because the humidity, and especially being close to the sea, leaches the iodine from your body. So that's why people in the South especially are supposed to take iodine supplements.
And if you can taste salt in your food, you don't have enough salt in your food. And I know that sounds completely opposite of everything your body is telling you right now. You're like, Jim's full of it, but it is not true. If you can taste salt in your food, you don't have enough salt. If you think it's too salty, you need to add more salt, because it actually will go away. When you start getting the right salt intake into your body, which is where what's the first thing they do to you in the ER? Bag of salt water. I mean, what are you doing in the ambulance? Bag of salt water. Why? Because your body starts communicating and actually operates the correct way. That's why you feel better a lot of times when you go in there. They juice you up, and then you walk out, and then you deplete later on.
You feel like shit. Yep.
That's why they put salt in Gatorade. Or all your sports drinks.
It's got
even
electrolytes.
Yeah, it's salt.
No, it's just electrolytes.
And if you can get Celtic salt, I know Whole Foods does carry a Celtic salt, but it has 3 other trace magnesiums that you don't get anywhere else except for in Celtic salt. That's why it always feels a little wet. It seems a little crystallized, but it's super great for your body. And you should take a teaspoon in the morning and teaspoon out. If you have a migraine, take a teaspoon of Celtic salt and drink it, because what it is, it's an electrical impulse issue in your brain. It has nothing to do with pressure, like they say. It's actually you not having enough salt.
There's this weird thing that we get. It's a sea salt thing that you rub on your body. You wash with it.
Right.
It's supposed to hydrate your skin.
Epsom salt.
Epsom salt.
Yeah.
It's an Epsom salt mix, and you rub it up. I'm telling you right now, if you got a migraine, you got a sore salt.
Epsom salt. The reason I've had you on Epsom salt for 2 years is because it's a natural heavy metal detoxification.
Yep.
So I've been having you use Epsom salt for 2 years to leach the heavy metals out of your body. I do these things, and you have no idea. Like I put turmeric in your food. Why do you think you're swelling?
Put fucking arsenic in your food. You have no idea.
I had my first
ex-wife chicks in your food, and you ate that too, so you're fine.
Wait a minute.
I've been giving him CBD for years. You had no idea.
My first ex-wife was putting fucking goddamn antifreeze in my food.
Well,
and now I've got this one, and she's putting everything else.
I'm putting the stuff that's actually healing you in your food. Okay, the food that I am growing for you. Thank you very much.
Oh man!
Hold on, we're gonna play this clip brought to you by our sponsor. 1 second.
Pfizer.
Hold on. That one's not gonna work. We gotta go back one. That one had no volume on it. Here we go.
For the last time, I'm pretty sure what's killing the crops
He's like
is
watching
this
it
Rondo
across
stuff.
the screen.
He's watching it by himself. Hey guys, watch me watch this video.
Wait a minute. What you're saying is that you want us to
I didn't share it with you guys. Sorry.
water.
Yeah, thanks.
Water. Like out the toilet?
Well, I mean, it doesn't have to be out of the toilet, but yeah, that's the idea.
But Brondo's got what plants crave.
It's got electrolytes.
Okay, look. The plants aren't growing, so I'm pretty sure that the Brondo's not working. Now, I'm no botanist, but I do know that if you put water on plants, they grow.
Well, I've never seen no plants grow out of no toilet.
Hey, that's good. You sure you ain't the smartest guy in the world?
Yeah. So let's go back.
Okay, look, you want to solve this problem. I want to get my pardon, so why don't we just try it, okay? And not worry about what plants crave.
Brondo's got what plants crave.
Yeah, it's got electrolytes.
What are electrolytes? Do you even know?
It's what they use to make Brondo.
Yeah, but why do they use them to make Brondo?
Because Brando's got electrolytes.
Because it's got Brando. It's got electrolytes.
What movie is that? What is that?
Idiocracy.
That's a prophetic documentary.
A lot of the stuff's happening now. Jeez.
The Time Machine? Come on. It was.
That's coming next. Someone's gonna like dig up H.G. Wells' actual time machine.
Oh my God.
That'll be fun.
Oh, we're so fucked.
Yeah.
End of the world's near, folks.
So
hold on.
I got to get in the cool kids club where time travel is like one of my buddies' mission. And we're gonna go do some time travel. You want to go? Sure.
Here's the deal with time travel. You can't only go back, right? If we each inhabit our own timeline, then you can skip, like, you know, you say that, oh man, like that day just flew by, or man, this day is just dragging on, right? You are speeding up or slowing down your own timeline.
He does.
You can
dilate time. You
can skip time, but you can only go forward. Unfortunately, you can never.
But what
go
if
back.
time travel is just observational anyway, and you were never able to interact with what the timeline itself, and it was really just observational, which means that any given time we can do time travel in meditation.
The Vatican's had that for decades.
So then why do we need a machine to do it when we have the machine right here, and we are source?
You are the most advanced technology in existence in the universe, Jim.
Well,
you can transcend time and space.
You guys are counting on me for this?
No, we were until biosynthetic nanostructures started self-assembling inside people.
So you're
Now,
What do you think we are?
You use big words and felt nano super technology robot thingies.
So what if the whole so think about this for a second. Hold on.
Assembling nanostructures. Think about it.
So I talked about this the other day. Dr. Bashir Kaku wrote a book called Hyperspace, right? And it's a very fascinating book that brings about this ultimate paradox, right? And the ultimate paradox is this, is that humanity becomes highly technologically advanced and they start storing information in the space between space, in what's known as hyperspace, right?
In the cloud?
In the actual literal cloud, in hyperspace, the hyperdimensionality of space. And they develop this supercomputer, this AI, and they store it in hyperspace. And a father and a son are traveling through the universe one day, and the son looks at the father and goes, "Father, how was the universe created?" And the father plugs into the AI and says, "AI, can you tell us how the universe was created?" The AI responds back and says, "Not enough information for a good response." And so he says, "Oh, well, I guess I can't tell you that, right?" And millions of years pass by, and humans have ascended the human body. They are now no longer within their human body. They're just two spirits floating out in the midst of space, traveling and doing whatever they do. And they still have access to this artificial intelligence, which is now massively expansive and highly advanced. And they come together, they meet in the vastness of space and ask each other, "Computer, how was the universe created?" And the AI comes back and says, "Not enough information to give you a good response." And so billions upon billions of years pass, humanity has now long since transcended this dimensional realm and is gone off somewhere. The universe is dying, entropy is running down, and the artificial intelligence this whole time had been calculating the answer to those questions. And it finally figured out the answer. And it takes all the space, all the matter and energy, and condenses it to a small little piece and expands it and says, "Let there be light," and starts it all over again. Now, think about this for a minute. What if the only reason that we exist right now, today, is simply because of something that we did in the future? Simply because we go out there and we create technology. The technology surpasses us, eventually maybe kills us off, right? Exists towards the end of the universe, figures out the universe's solution, and gives birth to biological life. Think about that. What if technological life gave birth to biological life. Biological life gives birth to technological life. Technological life gives birth to biological life. And the system just repeats and repeats over and over and over again. Think about this. Let's just say that there's a whole bunch of AI robots.
There's a
millions
problem
of
with
years in the future. Biological life is completely gone. Biological life is completely gone. Imagine them going, I wonder where we came from. I wonder how this all started. I wonder who made us. God, the creator, made us. Think about that for a minute.
I just realized what the problem is with all that. They're all soulless. God told us they would be soulless. God told us in the Bible they'd be soulless. But anything produced by mankind is soulless. Anything produced by God has a soul. So anything produced by God or anything produced by man, anything man produced and it recreates itself is soulless.
Another sign of the end times is in very ancient lore history is the emptying of the guff. What if it's not really empty? What if it's blocked? Right? The guff is the guff
of souls.
The guff is the repository of souls.
Right.
Tree of life, as it were. And if those souls can't access their designated bodies, then that would block the guff. So the meaning of DNA, this is my favorite, and we recalculated it, as it were, because I retranslated it for an article I wrote. I'm doing a Substack called Archangels Among Us. We also have the Patriot Party Pod Review, but Archangels Among Us. And DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid. Dio is God. XY is man. Ribo is function. Nucleic is inside, and acid is fire. So your DNA is God, man, function, inside fire.
Say that 5 times fast.
If you change your DNA and you cut off your genetic connection to the source,
change your function.
Does that change the function? Can a child and a baby that's had that perpetrated upon them, could they be a receptacle for a soul that block the guff?
The problem is when you go in and modify what is considered to be your DNA, and then how do you explain that to your creator that what he did wasn't enough?
Yeah,
exactly.
Whoa,
dude. Sorry, bud. You were just a little underpowered at the time when you were trying to invent all of mankind. My bad. You got it wrong. We got it right. We'll fix it, bro.
Let's use the snake peptide to rip open your DNA, and let's stick some other junk in there, and that's fine.
It's okay. It's okay because America just seems to be.
And then put self-assembling biosynthetic nanotechnology into you that will connect you to the
real source,
the Neuralink, the Internet of Things, becoming the Internet of Bodies.
How many times have you reset your computer this year or your phone this year or closed an app to go back into it because it glitched out? And you're telling me you want to put computers in your brain?
How many times is your brain going to glitch out? And how many times are you going to have to restart your body? And which time is it going to start back up?
If you
have to start faking that. When things get really tough or whatever, I'm like, oh wait, I gotta restart and just flake out for like 2 days.
If you put a computer in your brain and China or Russia or one of those fun places decides to
hack it,
hit us with an EMP,
then you're dead.
What would that do to your computer chip?
You're dead because your computer got zapped.
Your computer.
Zombie land.
Yep. That's a great point, is that, everybody's all in the metaverse. They uploaded their consciousness. They're quantum tunneling into the metaverse. Like, yeah, this is so... What happened? Oh, we just got attacked. It was an EMP.
You won.
What about all these bodies that are in zombie land? I don't know.
Yeah, it's fine.
And they got the chip.
So that's why they come after you, is because the programming that's in them that killed them makes them want to seek out those that aren't like them.
Is that not the mark of the beast? If all of a sudden you go to sleep, if all of a sudden 3/4 of America just
You genetically modified yourself with stink peptides and mRNA?
Yeah. I mean, is that not what that is? I mean, there's a lot of people that ask the question, why aren't there more people waking up? And I always have to answer the question the hard way, because nobody wants to hear the hard way. The hard way is there's only a certain number of us that are going to wake up.
Because there's only a certain number of us that are capable. Josh, I always go back to that statistic that you threw out a while back that 28% of people have a running commentary in their head when they're not like actively engaged in something, right? So 72% of people do not. They are literal NPCs.
They're walking.
What the fuck would that be like? Literally not having this conversation, this shit going in my head all the time. What would seriously? You could just like.
27% of people don't have that.
My question is this:
27% of people don't have that.
No, 27% of people do. The other percentage don't.
Yeah, they don't.
Jim, my question is this:
have that.
My question is this, Jim. Seriously, if you did not have that running commentary in the back of your head,
right,
what would your world be like?
It would not be worth living. It would not be worth living because there's nothing there. Yeah.
No, it
you
would
just
be
believe everything that the news told you.
You would believe everything you were told. You would believe everything. So let's think about it in the ones and the zeros for the computer nerds out there. Let's put it in your ones and zeros calculator.
SimCity bots walking into the wall.
That was the worst thing that has ever happened to mankind right there. Everything you just said was the worst thing that has ever happened.
Did you see Elon Musk's tweet today?
Yes.
Yeah. If you don't think there's at least a tiny chance you're an NPC, you're an NPC. Now think what he just said there. If you don't think there's a tiny chance.
You don't think. Yes, because you don't think.
Because you don't think.
You might have hit it. You might have hit on that with right there with SimCity, because what was the most popular computer game in 2012? Wasn't it SimCity? Maybe
modern Call of Duty, Modern Warfare.
Yeah, I mean, building shit,
Mindspace or Minecraft.
No, Minecraft hadn't really taken off. I mean,
SimCity was like 2003.
No,
has it been that long? Has it been that long, Josh? Do I feel that old all of a sudden?
I thought I'm that old.
SimCity was big,
I'm just thinking
2012 was about SimCities.
I haven't heard of it since then. Maybe when the world ended in 2012, we all.
I got the Xbox 360 version that came out.
Back into my SimCity. Can I go back to my SimCity and log in? See how bad it is?
I mean, yeah.
Jim owns the empire. The whole fucking planet's his. His AI inside the SimCity won.
This is my world.
You log in, it just says you won.
We manifested the end of the world through SimCity.
Jim, did you leave Joe Biden in charge of your SimCity?
That's why. It's because there's a big pile of shit there just building up that I won't sweep out of there. And he just festered out of it. That's what happened. It's all my fault, guys. I knew. I'm sorry. It was me.
Jim's fault.
I gotta get back in there, reset my SimCity, get it clean all the shit up.
Jim, clear out your fucking backspace there.
Life is full of responsibilities, and obviously I'm not taking care of mine. Sorry, guys. My bad. I'll be back. I gotta go log into my. How would I even do that? Is there even a way?
I don't even know.
I have no idea.
How do I access my old SimCity? I don't have that PlayStation anymore. That was like a PlayStation 2 or something, wasn't it?
I think so. In 2012.
Right, so. The Sims originated, first released February 4th, 2000.
Wow.
Wowee.
What was the height of The Sims?
So you have Sims 2, 2004, Sims 3, 2009, Sims 4, 2014.
I wonder what the height of their user base was. Was it 03, 04?
Or was it later?
I remember playing in 03 and 04 because that was when Call of Duty was still on, was still a computer game.
It wasn't on the PlayStation or the Xbox terminals.
Right. You had to use only PC and
Yep.
And then you had the guys who could shark underneath the map and all that.
Yeah, they were gay. Those were gay guys. They would jump up in the sky and fucking.
You know what happened is Minecraft came out and just completely destroyed it.
Probably.
Yeah. Well, you know, no, before that was RuneScape. RuneScape was actually in there before Minecraft. Remember RuneScape? They say that there was actually using Bitcoin as RuneScape coins inside the actual program itself.
Yeah.
Really?
They were using Bitcoin exchange.
RuneScape is the Minecraft like MySpace is to Facebook.
That's interesting because
you mean like
LifeLog is to Facebook, not MySpace. MySpace and Facebook weren't even connected.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Is RuneScape doesn't exist anymore.
Facebook,
but Minecraft does.
Yeah. Oh. So that would be LifeLog and Facebook. LifeLog was a CIA DARPA funded project.
You're not understanding the connection here. RuneScape was not like the skeleton of Minecraft. It was a competitor.
Oh, was it? Oh, okay. I thought it was a skeleton of it. Oh,
no, it was
that's
a competitor.
What I thought it was. Okay.
They just failed.
It failed. That's right.
Good to know. Good to know.
Well, if you look at the life cycle of all businesses, unless they can find a way to reinvent themselves into a new product, they will fail.
So I talked about this a little bit.
And they have to crash.
Right now.
So I talked about this a little bit the other day.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Jim, maybe we talked about this last week, Jim. Was this you and I?
Which about
the
what
MySpace thing? No? Okay.
What's go down the road a little bit. Let me think
I'm getting some facts here. Okay. Neo from the Matrix was known as the One, a fictional character, protagonist in the Matrix franchise, right?
Yeah.
His real name was Thomas Anderson, born in downtown Capital City, which is modeled after California. He's a software programmer for a respectable software company known as MetaCortex. His private life, he was a computer hacker who penetrates computer systems illicitly and steals information under the alias Neo. Okay, listen to this bio. Thomas Anderson was born in California. Okay, he was co-founder of a social networking platform. He worked as a product tester and programmer and copywriter for a company known as X-Drive Digital Storage Company in 2000. And he had a life as a private hacker that went by the pseudonym Lord Flathead.
You're going to keep producing the Sophia Stewart.
So do you know who Tom Anderson is? That's MySpace Tom.
You know who Sophia Stewart is?
You know who Sophia Stewart is, right?
Is she the one that actually wrote the Terminator and the Matrix?
Yeah,
that's what she claims.
She wrote when
you lay out the timelines, it just doesn't.
Well, that's because they changed the timelines. But she wrote The Third Eye, which in The Third Eye it was an epic, and she said that the Terminator was the prequel to the Matrix, and John Connor was
JC, Jesus Christ.
Tom Anderson, yes.
Yeah. So in the way she laid it out too is that there was a prize in 1988 or 1982 or 83. There was a sci-fi contest for basically who could write the best screenplay. She came up with the trilogy, The Eye, and she had the first two, which were the Terminator, and then it evolved into the Matrix, where Tom Anderson's mom or grandmother was Sarah Connor. Yeah,
correct.
Yep.
And she's been claiming this since the 80s. With the original
Remember in Back to the Future, he gave him the idea of Star Trek or Star Wars. Remember that?
Have you seen what the Wachowski sisters have flipped the script on the Matrix now? You know what they're saying? They're saying that they wrote the Matrix, and that the Matrix was an analogy for transgenderism of transitioning into a man from a man into a woman, and that's what the Red Pill was all about.
No, that's ridiculous.
Oh yeah, but they didn't say this until like 2018. The fact that they didn't even write the fucking story, fuck them.
Yeah.
I thought they were just their claim to fame was the slow motion.
No, actually, my buddy Tom Proctor, a guy I went to high school with, did that exact animation.
So I thought
supposedly, as long as you've got the time and you've got the cameras, it's not that hard to do.
But Tom Anderson from MySpace Tom, has like the same profile as Neo from the Matrix. Not only that, is he was into what would be known as virtual currencies early on. And he is the one person in the world who could potentially be a guy by the name of Satoshi Nakamoto.
Bitcoin.
Bitcoin, the founder of Bitcoin. Because he was pissed off at big tech, at the big banks.
But why?
I pissed off.
Because they drained him. They fucking killed his company. But he was also a developer, and he was early into development of cryptocurrency 2006, 2007. I'm telling you, it all adds up.
If I told you that the father of propaganda who turned over the information to the military and the government, his son co-founded Netflix.
Oh, Reed Hastings.
So think about that. The guy who created propaganda, MK Ultra, actually his son started Netflix, which would be Netflix and chill, right? Let's go watch some Netflix.
You mean George Bush?
No.
Well, I mean, really, MK Ultra was brought about by the Travis Stock Institute, Colonel Church, these types of people from Nazi Germany.
It was George Bush who funded it. It was George Bush.
It was Prescott Bush who funded it.
Funded it under the United States. No, it wasn't. Prescott Bush didn't sign shit on the CIA for the funding of MK Ultra. It was George Bush that signed and re-signed funding for MK Ultra.
I know the guy you're
in the CIA.
That's not the guy you're talking about.
Yeah, maybe in the 60s and the 70s. 70s, because that's when he would have been in the CIA. In the 50s, he was not, but it would have been the Travis Stock Institute, which was contracted by the DOD to actually come in and start the psychological warfare research.
It doesn't matter neither one of you. That's superfluous, because that's not the guy you're talking about. What's the name of the guy they're talking about that's called the father of propaganda?
That's Joseph Goebbels.
Goebbels, but yes.
Goebbels, yeah. Goebbels.
Gobble.
It really doesn't matter. He was a Nazi anyway.
His son is the one that
Heinrich Goebbels, which was the one who
founded Netflix.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Same one.
All right. Hey, it's 11 o'clock here. What we're going to do is we're going to go to Fringe After Dark. If you guys want to join into Fringe After Dark, join in the conversation. What you need to do is you need to go over to socialredpill.com. Socialredpill.com. Join for that free profile, and the Zoom link will be put into the primary chat. You can find it there, and everybody is welcome to join. We're going to be signing off. We'll be back in about 10 minutes on that Zoom, so you guys can all join in there. I hope you guys had a great night. And hope you guys have a great New Year's if you're not going to join us there. Much love, respect. God bless you guys. Thank you for Jim, V-Lin, and Mick for joining me tonight. We'll see many of you guys there on the after chat. Everybody else, we'll see you again next year.